Before midnight. Track 39. The doomsday clock is an imaginary clock which represents the probability of a global ecological disaster happening. Midnight represents that disaster. Scientists and other experts analyze the global situation and decide whether to move the time forward, closer to midnight, or back. Away from midnight, they consider things like the change of a nuclear war, climate change, and terrorism. In the 90s, the clock was at around 10 minutes to midnight, but since the start of the 21st century, the clock has ticked and steadily towards midnight. Although the clock is not real, the threat to the planet is and is have never been more important for people around the world to work together as global citizens to save the planet before it's too late. Track 40. But however, whenever possible, we should try to use car less and to use public transport or circle or walk if we're not going far. We should also try to save energy at home. We can do this by using LED bulbs, which are more efficient than normal bulbs. If the LED bulbs are not available, we should make sure we turn off lights that we are not using. We can also help by using less water. We should try to limit the amount of time we spend in the shower and not waste water when washing the dishes. Track 41. Of course, being a global citizen is more than just about looking after the environment. We also have to respect one another. None of us wants others to discriminate against us, and none us wants to be bullied to who more. And we should remember that when we think about how to treat others. We are all people, no matter what religion, color, or sexuality. We are everybody in the world was the same. It would be a very boring place, so diversity is something that we should embrace. We must also try to help with equality between genders. Fortunately, the idea that women should stay home and look after the children is becoming a thing of the past, but there is still more to be done on equality between the sexes. be a good citizens in 21st centuries, men treating women equally. Track 42. Another thing that good citizens can do is to volunteer to help others in their communities. In Mexico, after the September 2017 earthquake, there was a real community spirit. Groups of people gathered together with tools to help try to rescue service and other volunteers at connection centers from where donates were distributed. Many people were their time, money, and possession to help, but that is something we shouldn't just do after a disaster. We have to remember that we can always make a difference to communities if we all give use and hours in the time we spend on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter each week or month to help our communities. We can make a big difference. There are many websites online that give ideas of how to help, and there are several organizations looking for volunteers. Small action we can make a big difference too. We should all contribute to keeping the streets clean. Obviously, that means we should throw rubbish on the street, but we can also consider collecting some of the rubbish that others have thrown and dropped. This helps to make the area looks nicer, can help with recycling, and reduces the chances of the street being flooded in the rainy season. Track 43 is not used in towns and cities where there is a problem. However, Mexico has many beautiful beaches, but rubbish is becoming a problem. Some of rubbish is left visitors, but a lot comes from the sea, as the oceans are filling up with plastic bottles, bags, and other rubbish. Each year, nearly 10 million tons of waste find its way into the ocean, and those just harm marine animals and affect the marine ecosystem. It also affects us. Many of us eat seafood, and this can be contaminated if our water gets into the food chain. It can also affect us indirectly because many tourists choose not to visit beaches which are filled with rubbish. For those reasons, we have to be part of the solution. If we go to the beach, We must take our rubbish away with us, and we should also consider collecting some of the plastic items defined so that these do not get back into the sea. Track 44. A good citizen must also be a good neighbor. That means that they have considered the to the people that live around us, especially in cities and big towns, where many people live close together. We have to remember that we are sharing a space with many others. If I have a party, we should consider that neighbors may have an important meeting or exam the next day, so we should try to keep noise to a minimum. If we are not public transport, we should allow people to get off before we get on, and we should give up our seat to those who might need it more than us, and we must always treat others as we would want them to treat us. After the earthquake, groups people come together with tools to help try to rescue survivors. Others volunteer at collection centers from where tourist items they're distributed. Many people gave their time, money, and possession to help.